My name is Ethan Fontanez, and this is my story. I grew up in a small town called Veneta, Oklahoma. The family that surrounded me was a loving family, very affectionate. My father was a pastor, my mother was a school teacher. We adopted my little sister from China at a very young age. I was very fortunate to be able to have her in my life as well. Growing up in Oklahoma, especially in a small town, there wasn't much to do. So going to church was something that our family was big on. So I grew up in church, and I got connected with a lot of people a lot of their kids that went to church as well. As I began to get older, I started hanging out with some of the kids that weren't necessarily doing the right thing. They were into drugs and alcohol. And as I began to dabble into it, I began to start to do it myself. So over time, this curiosity became a habit, and this habit became a lifestyle. I began to get in more trouble. I began to cause more messes than I intended to, and I began to hurt my family. When I was 17, I knew I had to get away from my hometown. So I reached out to an uncle that was here in Pensacola, and I asked him if I could come and move and finish my senior year in high school. He agreed lovingly and open-armedly. So when I moved down here, I got connected with a body of believers at a church there in Gulf Breeze, and I began to serve in that church. I began to make friends, and I eventually began to work for the church. But there was still something inside of me that wanted to go back to my old lifestyle. So that yet again, I began to dabble into this lifestyle again. It was fun at first. It was fun, then problems, then it just became problems. Over a short period of time, my life began to change into a downward spiral. I began to do things I normally wouldn't do, begin to pursue people I normally wouldn't pursue of just to get high. It got to the point where I was broken. Bridges began to get burnt with my friends. I was homeless. I didn't have transportation, and I lost my job. That's when I knew I needed something radical to change my life. I reached out to an organization called Teen Challenge. Within the week of calling them, I was accepted, and I went through their program. During that time, I learned a valuable lesson. I learned that sometimes life is just bigger than yourself, and a relationship with God is key. My relationship with God got really real quick one day when I was driving one morning. I was driving down the highway, and when I looked over to my right, I saw a parking lot that was full of cars and people were lined up outside. I didn't really understand why so many people so early in the morning were outside this building, later to find out it was a methadone clinic. It broke my heart, knowing that people were so excited and up so early just to pursue something that wasn't godly, and yet today in church we can barely get people there on time. So with that anger, I knew that God had called me to do more. I knew I was called for broken people. I was called to serve broken people. As I began to go through this journey and begin to pursue God even more, I know that He's not done with me, but I'm willing to do whatever He wants me to do. My name is Ethan. This is my story.